let's move on. A new red scare is reshaping Washington. Zach, did you do the last story or did I?
I did. I did the last two.
All right. In a ballroom across from the Capitol building, an unlikely group of military hawks, populist crusaders, Chinese Muslim freedom fighters, and followers of the Falun Gong has been meeting to warn anyone who will listen that China poses an existential threat to the United States and will not end until the Communist Party is overthrown. If the warnings sound straight out of the Cold War, they are. Because we're literally trying to start a new Cold War with China. And it's all this red scare. Just like campaigning against the dangers of the Soviet Union in the 70s.
I mean, if Nixon didn't start trade relationship with China,
we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah, we wouldn't. They wouldn't have been as powerful and rich as they are.
Yeah. If anything that comes out of this Chinese talk, I really hope we don't start a Cold War with them. That just seems like even more money being spent on defense. But there is a little grain truth coming out of China being a threat, and it's not really militarily; it's economic.
It's an economic threat.
Yeah. So if anybody thinks that China isn't a threat, ridiculous. But the fact that they pose a military threat, in what capacity? Beijing does not have a navy to compete with the U.S. They don't have an air force to compete with the United States. Their tank force may be vast, but it's still full of outdated equipment, like Russia.
Tanks.
The only thing you have to worry about China is the flow of their goods. I mean,
and their influence over third world countries.
Yeah, their influence over their neighbors. But
and
you
Africa.
Can almost... Yeah, and Africa. They are, especially in East Africa, Sudan, anybody along the Belt and Road Initiative. Greece and Italy have even gone and signed on to the Belt and Road Initiative, which I think is just such a stupid idea. It's like, hey, let's be indebted to China. I mean, I can't really blame Greece. They're going through a huge economic downturn, and infrastructure being built, at least in the short term, they could see it as being a good thing for the country. But in the long term, does Greece really need to be indebted to an even greater country than Germany? Like an even greater power? I really don't think so.
No.
That's the kind of thing that you need to worry about from China. They're starting this debt empire. They are like, all right, well, we'll build roads and factories and railroads, and then this loan you can just take out after building all this. By the way, they're building it with Chinese workers too, so it's not like it's even helping the local economy.
Yeah.
These people are all being transported from China to build this infrastructure, so it's not like what's a good Italian stereotype name? I don't want to say Benito Mussolini. That's all I can think of right now.
That's all I can think of. Giorno Giovanna?
Yeah, Giorno Giovanna. You got a little Giorno Giovanna here doesn't have a job because of the economic recession. He's not even benefiting from this.
And that's literally a gangster.
Yeah, he's gonna go be a gangstar because he can't find work, and this Belt and Road Initiative is not helping him at all.
Shame.
But that's what you gotta worry about. And trade with China in the United States sense is all the foreign imports coming from China. I mean,
we need
go
stronger
to Walmart.
Protectionism.
Yeah, we do. Free trade is good and all, but you got to be careful who you're trading freely. I mean, free trade with Mexico can be a bit of a double-edged sword for both Mexico and the U.S. It screwed our industry. They sucked our auto industry out. But on the other hand, we sucked out Mexico's agricultural industry because U.S. farmers get way more in subsidies than Mexican farmers, making their goods completely uncompetitive in their own local market. So, I mean, it is a double-edged sword there. But what is it with China? Well, what are we getting out of it? We're getting cheap Chinese goods, and then the Chinese in turn are what? Getting limited U.S. Agricultural imports. So who's really benefiting out of the two of us? Who's benefiting greater from the free and open trade?
By far,
It's China.
China. It's not even
Exactly. And it really makes me sad because I recently seen a thing that Bernie Sanders doesn't. My pick for the Democratic primaries. He's not. He doesn't agree with the trade war going on with China and the tariffs being imposed on him.
Although he's
And
against permanent normal trade relations with China, so I don't understand.
I know. I don't want a renegotiated trade deal with China. Bernie is advocating for one negotiated better, but I mean everybody's negotiating a better trade deal. What does that mean? That doesn't mean shit. We need to end trade relations with them, period.
Yeah.
Because in the end, we're just making them stronger while we get weaker. I mean, what is the U.S. industry? Who's the biggest employer in the U.S.? Walmart?
Walmart is, yes.
Cool. So the biggest employer in the U.S. is a company that sells Chinese goods to American citizens.
Yep.
Well, isn't that great?
Jesus.
It's ridiculous.
God.
So these war hawks, back to Steve Bannon and his coalition. These war hawks, they do have some merit in their reason to be against China, especially Chinese Muslim freedom fighters, Uyghurs, and Tibetans. They were there. But
they're
it's not the
getting
U.S.'s
outbred.
job to invade China to free Tibet and the Uyghurs over in the Turin Basin. That's not our job. This shouldn't be our goal against our quote-unquote war with China, our Cold War with China. Our own goal should be first and foremost protecting the U.S. economy and our own citizens and our own jobs and our own industries. That's first and foremost. The Uyghurs and the Tibetans, I do feel bad for them, but what is an invasion or what is active military involvement or a Cold War? What is that going to do to help them?
They're going to get oppressed even worse.
Yeah, it's not going to do anything. You can't. That's over in China's western region. Even if the U.S. did some sort of fucking pro-gamer move and we had a war with China, it wouldn't help them in the end.
No, it wouldn't. It would hurt them.
But honestly, the reason I don't like it is the reason why the Americans in this meeting are against China for this existential threat starting this whole Cold War is it's not even about protecting the U.S. economy. It's about keeping that great power status. We're afraid. We're afraid that they're rising, and we're not rising as fast. We don't want an equal.
We're declining, I would argue.
Exactly. We don't want that equal.
We've been declining since 1945, though. I
know, but we've won the Cold War, so that's like, all right, well, now we're the only superpower. Now that we see China starting to, his economy or his
being alone at the top leads to decadence.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And this is exactly, it's all fear mongering. We're afraid of losing the #1 status.
I don't think having a single world superpower is a good thing.
No, I mean, what is one opinion in a world of over 100 nations?
Dictation. That's what we've been doing.
Yeah, we don't have all the answers. The U.S. is nothing but an international bully.
Yeah, we haven't been really interacting with anyone in a positive way. We've been dictating to everyone.
But yeah, I think they're going about this the wrong way. But no. They've reached the wrong conclusion, but they're heading in the right direction in a sense. So
yeah,
or at least the road they took made them reach the wrong. So we're going down the same path, but they went down we need to start a Cold War with China so we can keep our great power status. I'm arguing we need to end trade relations with China so U.S. industry and the people of the United States are protected from Chinese imports that would eventually. That's not strengthening our economy. It's not helping our jobs. It's not helping our industry. It's not doing anything to help the U.S. except for make our goods cheap. But I
Yeah.
mean, what does making goods cheap mean? I mean, most people
It
don't
would-
even like seeing the Made in China stickers
I
on their
know.
products.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean, what's the point of cheaper goods if you're making far less money? You're still
Mhm.
worse off.
exactly. So I mean, it's good that at least we're starting to see China as not our friend. Because the Chinese aren't our friend. They
No.
really aren't. We're indebted to them for trillions of dollars. We're not friends. We're business partners. And I think we need to end that business relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.